Good afternoon, and a big welcome to everyone. Whether you are looking for some cloud wisdom or just taking a break from meetings, you have picked a great session. Today, we are sharing the successful cloud journey of Kuehne+Nagel, one of the world's leading logistics provider. We will walk you through the we will walk you through the way how they pulled it off and show you the few steps that you can take back with you. Hi, I am Mian Tariq, and I am super excited to be joined by Dr. Ben Daman from Kuehne+Nagel. When it comes to cloud transformation, especially for critical systems, we often hear two competing demands. Don't interrupt our current operations, but hey, we also need to innovate faster. It's like waiting for a package you really need, say a spare part for your rock climbing gear you ordered last minute. Now, you don't care how it gets to you, by plane, truck, or ship. You just expect it to arrive on time. Now imagine that the logistics provider is upgrading their entire tracking and routing system while still delivering millions of packages a day. It sounds risky, but with the right team and strategy, it can absolutely be done. Here's what we have prepared for you today. First, we will talk about the main challenges that can make or break a transformation, the challenges you might be facing right now. Next, you will hear from Dr. Ben how Kuehne+Nagel successfully migrated their multi-billion-dollar platform to AWS with zero operational impact while enabling enterprise-wide modernization. I assure you, no magic tricks were involved. It was just solid strategy and teamwork. Finally, I will share a practical framework that you can take away and use for your own cloud journey. No buzzwords, just the things that actually work. Let's start. Here's the deal. Leaders like you are juggling with growing customer needs, fast market changes, and new technology coming at you all the time. But the hard part is getting your people, processes, and tools all working together to make that journey good. Here's an interesting fact. According to Flexera 2024 Cloud Report, 78% of IT leaders say their biggest cloud challenge is simply not having enough expertise. Does this sound familiar to anyone here? Yes, and its impact is everywhere. Delayed projects, growing backlogs, overburdened teams, and sometimes even security risks. This isn't just an IT headache, it's a business problem. Because if you can't move fast, you start falling behind. Similarly, according to another recent Flexera report from 2025, 54% of respondents said their biggest concern is understanding how different applications connect and rely on each other. And yes, it can delay or even derail a migration. Next, 46% said they struggle to figure out if and how to move certain workloads to the cloud, especially complex, closely integrated systems. And once they do move, 43% said managing cloud costs is still a challenge. So clearly, getting to the cloud is just one part of the story. The real game is operational excellence. Simply put, keeping your systems running smoothly once you are in the cloud. These challenges clearly show why you need a clear and structured approach. And that's exactly what you will learn from Kuehne+Nagel's story and the success framework. Now, please welcome Dr. Ben Daman, Head of Digital Architecture and Platform at Kuehne+Nagel. I have had the pleasure working closely with him over the past 2 years, and he's here to walk us through their cloud journey. Thank you, Ben.
So, thank you very much, Mian, and good afternoon to everybody. Are you still with us, everybody? Really cool. Do you still want to join me on the cloud transformation journey? Even better. So, but before we start that, let me briefly say a little bit about what Kuehne+Nagel is actually doing. So we are at logistics or in logistics. So we are moving things from A to B. But what we are actually doing is we are serving your needs on a daily basis. So, for example, we make sure that you can travel around the world by delivering engines to aircraft, more than 2,100 last year, by delivering your sports gear so that you can stay fit, that you can stay in contact with your friends and partners, and that you have medication that you need when it matters the most. So looks easy, but it's a little bit more complicated in the back. But if you love complexity, if you like complexity, if you like to deal with complexity, that's a really cool business. And I personally love it a lot. Some more facts. More than 400,000 customers we do serve worldwide out of 4 business units: sea freight, air freight, road logistics, and contract logistics, which is the part that is dealing with the warehouses. We have been for a long time and are very confident to stay number 1 in sea freight and air freight worldwide, with our more than 80,000 logistics experts serving our customers in more than 1,300 locations around more than 100 countries. So, one organization and a bunch of IT engineers as well. So, anybody wants to apply? After the call, I take your application, after the talk. So seriously, IT and technology has always been a very strong arm within Kuehne+Nagel, serving and enabling the business, and also being considered as something that you have to have in-house competency about. And that is even more visible and strengthened looking at our current strategy cycle, 2026 to 2030, where the building of an enhanced digital ecosystem is one of the 4 cornerstones of our strategy. With that digital ecosystem, we want to deliver outstanding customer experience, digital customer experience. We want to really leverage the data that we have inside and outside our company to create unique insights, proactive decision-making, proactive problem-solving for the customers, and of course, increase automation and efficiency. And now comes the turn to this talk. So it has been very clear to us, because we started working in the cloud earlier than we started with the ecosystem, that in order to achieve these goals, we need to leverage cloud technology at scale in this company, because we need to have access to this fast-paced technology development in order to really deliver to the promises to our customers. So looking at the digital ecosystem, there's 5 key components. They're all equally important and they're all interconnected. And cloud transformation is one of those. I want to talk a little bit more in depth today. So what does it actually mean? So it's not about cost savings. It's not about moving to another data center. It's about enabling this technology at scale to the organization, uplifting the organization and the tech part of the organization to really have access to that technology for the whole application landscape, for the whole digital product landscape at Kuehne+Nagel. So that's the target. That's what we are talking about. We started that after some pre-work, more or less mid of 2023. So we are almost 2 years now in the program, and 1.5 years still ahead of us. So clear target to have done the job, moving the whole application landscape into AWS until end of 2026. Talking about the application landscape. So what are we talking about? Roughly 1,000 applications, from small to large. More than 10,000 servers distributed across 3 different data centers. we are very aware from the beginning that this is a huge change to the organization. It's a transformation because it's about doing things fundamentally different than we did it in the past or until today. And in order to guide us through that change, we have worked, or there is 3 principles that guided us through that journey. And I want to introduce them step by step and go into some detail in the following slides. So the first one is about removing uncertainties. It's a huge program, 1,000 applications, bring it to the cloud. Does it really work? Is it feasible? What does it mean in terms of affecting our operations? Will there be any disruptions? What is the real costs? You can do your analysis, you have to do your analysis, but in order to gain trust in the organization, you have to show that things are working with a meaningful example. So that's the first principle. Second principle, it's not about, as I said, moving from one data center to another data center. It's about standardizing, replatforming, and modernizing, leveraging technology in a controlled way, step by step, to bring that to the teams, to the products. And the third part is, of course, to plan and prepare for scale. Very important, I come to that later. Have a look at your estate, really understand your application landscape, then do a proper foundation work, and then plan your migration in waves where a business value is driving your waves and your migration. And maybe the most important principle is, because we are talking about transformation, we are talking about human beings. Technology, you can always find solutions, but human beings you have to have behind them. You have to have them with you. So you have to have your teams, you have to walk the talk, and you have to build a joint team spirit with your migration partner. It cannot be them and us, it has to be all together working towards the final goal. So, first principle, what does it actually mean? So we took the bold decision to tackle the biggest fish in the ocean. So we decided, we didn't take actually long to come to that conclusion. We have one central system in the 1000, which is our core TMS for sea freight and air freight, which is operating more than 60% of our revenue and more than 80% of our EBIT, so profit. And we decided, let's choose that system to show that we have this process and this program under control. So logistics guys are sometimes crazy, you could say, but let me have a look at what we are talking about. So it's a self-developed system, standard technology, stack, Java, Oracle, relatively highly transactional, more than 20,000 users, a lot of transactions per day, huge database, many lines of codes, of course, a huge environment of test developments, et cetera, roughly 300 engineers working on that system, continuously developed further. And that is one reason why we said, okay, it's worthwhile to take that one. There has been some limitations in the past on the on-prem setup we had so far with the system in terms of scalability, performance, and development turnaround. But still, I mean, are you crazy? Do you really want to introduce yourself into a perfect storm by having the biggest and most important system move to the cloud? And yes, we deliberately decided for that because, like the old saying goes, if you can make it with your biggest thing, then everybody will trust you and will believe you. So we really wanted to remove the uncertainties by showing it's working for that big fish. In terms of, as I said earlier, is it really feasible? What is the modernization potential that we can leverage? What is the effort on our side, so on the product development side? What is the consumption? And can we make it without impacting business continuity? some details on how we actually did it. So we approached this in a two-phased approach. First phase was about starting the re-platform and first modernization steps with the clear target, and that was also very important, to have the system in production on AWS within 9 months. So that was the limitation, starting in January and bringing it to life in October. We set up a very strong team, referring to the principle number 4 of internal and external people. We really embedded the whole migration into the product development lifecycle. So we have a 2-monthly major release lifecycle where we integrated the cloud migration into, with all the advantages that you can constantly move ahead and test and try things out. And we also established a very important thing, namely the baseline for system performance, system characteristics, as well as financials, in order to then compare the past and the present, or the past and the future, and to have fact-based arguments towards the business and the organization. So what did we do in terms of technology? So we did, of course, start containerizing. We did modularization, slightly, a little bit here, a little bit there. We invested very much into automating the production line in terms of infrastructure as code, GitOps, improvements in CI/CDs, etc. We tried things out step by step, so moved incrementally, not planned everything from A to B or from A to Z, but really fail fast, adopting, trying the next, going forward. And of course, we did right sizing as we went with the cloud transformation, with the move through the different stages from development stage to test stage to production. And of course, the very important thing always have in mind is that you have to have the cutover, the real cutover in mind. So going to production, and that needs special attention and a very well-designed drill. And I will walk you through that. And the major task here is do not disrupt your production. Because as you have seen, there's so much business running through that system that any hour that we are not live is hurting the organization. So we have defined a 5-step drill here, starting from putting or setting up the new production system on the cloud. The beauty is, of course, you can do it separately. You're still running on premise. You can set up your production system on the cloud first and put all the safety net around it. Second step is the synchronization. So synchronize from on-premise to the cloud system. So have the whole 540 terabyte on cloud, have your system in the cloud ready, try out with it, find out how it behaves, do your tests, do your load tests to get familiar with the behavior of the system. That gives you a lot of confidence that things are working. And then, of course, we need to prepare the cutover. And for that, no deployment, nobody touching anything, just one single configuration change pointed from now the users from on-prem to and after the switch over to the cloud system. So very, very little chance that things go wrong here. And then you organize, of course, as always, your hypercare phase that you can fix forward. But you have to have your safety net in place with a reverse fallback strategy. So basically going back to the on-prem in case there is no way going forward. That was also very important to have that transparent to the organization, that in case shit hits the fan, we can always go back. And then after 4 weeks of hypercare phase operations, we then turned into normal operations, and then finally shut down or dismantled the on-premise part of the system. So we did it, indeed. So kudos to the team, excellent work. Basically, nobody recognized that there was a change, a really fundamental change in the underlying infrastructure of a key system of Kuehne+Nagel. And we had immediate benefits. So we did see improvements in terms of responsiveness of the system, in terms of resilience, and in terms of developer productivity, turnaround times, waiting times for builds, etc. So that was a huge success and recognized as well by seafed and airfed business units. After a cool down phase of two months in order to get things settled and fixing here and there a bit and smaller improvements, we then, also following the strategy of modernization, entered into the second phase of modernization, where we want to further improve the cloud spend. So FinOps as a discipline, establishing that in Kuehne+Nagel. We want to get rid of the Oracle database and move to Amazon Aurora, which we will hopefully then also do in the next couple of weeks. We improved the networks by setting up things differently. We will also move to Amazon Linux away from Red Hat, and we will experiment and improve the scaling and introduce the smart scaling part, with another ambition to further reduce cost, of course, but also responsiveness and scalability. So that phase hopefully will end mid of the year. And then, of course, there's more to come in the normal product development. Now the team having access to all the great technology in the cloud. Although the move of the TMS is and was a central part of the program, it was by far not everything, because we want to tackle the whole application landscape. So another 990 applications to go. So coming back to the other two principles, and also here, we deliberately decided for a phased approach. So sometimes when people talk about cloud migration, you have the concept of this big bang or factory approach. We deliberately decided not to plunge into mass migration directly, because we think we want to be the master of our own destiny, so we need to master technology also in the cloud. Therefore, again, a phased approach. The first phase, in parallel to the migration of the TMS, is about preparing and laying the foundation. So, very importantly, looking again into application landscape. What is your state? Understand it and plan how to migrate. Build a right-sized foundation. So do it properly, but don't over-engineer things. Prepare for running your application landscape in the cloud. So develop a target operating model for the cloud, which is different compared to on-premise. Then you have to also make yourself clear about what is the patterns you want to apply in your mass migration. You cannot individually do things, but you have to see what is the main value drivers and how do you achieve standardization and proper replatforming at scale. And of course, trying out with pilots certain aspects of your approach. So that was the first year. And then the second year, or the second 2 years, started beginning of this year with a clear target to end until end of next year, is about getting the job done finally. So, and here again, commitment in terms of timeline, 2 years, as well as a budget and a target both for the project work as well as for the consumption in the cloud. Plan the mass migration in waves, I said that before. Invest in automation, infrastructure as code, GitOps, internal developer platforms with your templates for the migration teams in order to apply them in a highly automated way. And then look for quick wins, of course, to further increase the trust within the organization. And very important as well, of course, training your people not too early, but just in time. Some of the aspects I want to go a little bit deeper here, and the most important, or one of the key success factors, is really understand your scope. So look at your application landscape and take the migration as a chance to clean up things. So normally in big organizations, there's a lot of applications running, popping up, and then they normally stay. Whether you need them or not, even though you do a lot of work in terms of your application portfolio management, at least with us, the question to the business, do you still need that application in 2 years, really turned a little bit the wheel and saying, okay, out of the 1,000 that were eligible for cloud migration at the beginning, we ended up with 300 out of these 1,000, which we just don't need anymore. So instead of migrating it, just sunsetting it. And that's a parallel project. So we also keep track of that these 300 are really sunsetted until end of 2026. So you reduced your scope already by 30%. And the next step then is understand the details. So really do your technical assessment of the remaining applications. Do it with analyzing the things in terms of agents to collect data, but also talk to the application owners to really understand how they run, what is the team, what are they working on. We did it in questionnaires, several rounds, also bringing the whole organization into the mood of, yes, we are doing this transformation now, and I am part of it. And then you can work on your migration patterns, cost estimations, and then your wave planning. And again, another 60 fell out of this because we found out it really doesn't make sense to move these apps to the cloud for various reasons. So then, starting, we have very clear understanding of what we want to do in this migration phase. So we have identified six patterns for the re-platforming to achieve the standardization and the runway then for further modernization. Besides, of course, upgrading outdated components, you will be surprised. There's a lot of things that you need to upgrade. There is 6 patterns that we want to apply or that we do apply. I don't want to go into the details here, and there's the percentage looking at the whole application landscape. Where we apply them, of course, we apply different patterns or multiple patterns for one application. So that gives you a little bit of a frame and also a preparation for making it realistic to move 700 applications into the cloud within 2 years. And last but not least, the people factor. So again, it's a transformation, it's people. People have questions, people don't understand, you have to reiterate things. So we build it, we built a so-called cloud academy, consisting of 4 elements, where instructor-led trainings is one element, online learning classes, internal workshops, internal webinars, to really bring the stuff to the people, give them a forum to ask questions, train themselves, challenge themselves. Very good support also here from AWS. I don't want to go into the details, but that is, of course, it's a key factor in order to get these huge transformations going and making it a success. So, summarizing. Key elements, we moved the CNR TMS smoothly to the cloud without disrupting the organization, without disrupting operations, and it is now better than it was before. That was the key to get the buy-in of the organization. Any question coming, does it really work? Why do we do it? We done it for the TMS. Why wouldn't it work for your application? And then 300 applications moved out. So you reduced your load, very good, and also a very good cleanup for the whole estate. And 60 applications which stay on premise because it doesn't make sense. So we have the remaining 640, which we have a very clear plan going forward how to re-platform and to modernize these 640 applications until end of 2026. And that gives the ability for the teams to access the technology to further modernize and improve for serving your needs better than we did before. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. That was a great look at how Kuehne+Nagel made it happen. Now, what I really love about this story is that it didn't just magically work out. There was an effective plan behind it, a framework that actually worked. In this section, I will share 4 key steps that help Kuehne+Nagel cut through the complexities, avoid the usual pitfalls, and move fast. Whether you are just getting started or knee-deep in your cloud journey, this is something you can tweak and use for your own path forward. Let's start. Okay, step 1 is all about the human aspect. Let's face it, cloud transformation won't work if people aren't on board. A tug of war. That's what it looks like when teams aren't on board and everyone is pulling in different directions. Then what's happened? The whole transformation gets stuck. Now picture a different scene. People helping each other climb a mountain. That's the real goal. You don't want to get to the top without the team, right? So the question is, how do you transform your cloud transformation into a team effort? Kuehne+Nagel got it right by putting their people first. They ran real enablement programs to bring everyone along. Now, think about your own teams. Are you stuck in a tug of war, or are you all climbing that mountain together? Let's look at a simple formula for building the human side of transformation. First, engage. Get your people on board early. Don't just announce to the cloud like it's some surprise party. Explain why it matters, how it will happen, and what's in it for your people. Make it personal, make it real. Talk about new opportunities, learnings, and being part of something bigger. And remember, don't forget that you need everyone involved, from top to bottom. Next up, educate. Make sure everyone in your organization gets the basics, so you are all on the same page and speak the same language. Then for your cloud migration teams, identify skill gaps and provide the right training. Don't wait too long. Get your people ready early and things will go smoother. Finally, execute. Now put that learning into action. If you can, run training and migration tasks together. If not, don't keep the gap too long and have a clear plan so people don't lose interest or forget what they learned. Now put it all together and you get something really powerful. Shared purpose. That's when everyone wants to be part of your cloud transformation. Step 2, design for scalable modernization. This means not just moving your systems to the cloud, but building for long-term agility and growth. It's just like our mountain climb. You want to reach the top safely, take the smart route, and leave the ropes behind to make it easier for others to follow. Let's look at few principles. Sure, you can rehost fast, but without modernization, where it makes sense, you are just moving old problems into a new place. So refactor what matters, retire what's no longer needed. For example, Kuehne+Nagel did a great job here. They filtered out over 30% of applications before migration. So use tools like AWS Migration Portfolio Evaluator to find the right strategy for your team and your IT estate. So ask yourself, what can we improve as we move? Next, automate, automate, and automate. Now you might be thinking, everyone's automating these days, right? I couldn't agree more. But what really counts is having a clear strategy. So don't just automate random stuff here and there. Focus on big impact areas like infrastructure provisioning, config management, deployments and testing. Use infrastructure as code tools like AWS CloudFormation or Terraform, and automate your deployment pipelines to scale efficiently. Kuehne+Nagel again did a great job automating infrastructure provisioning, which led to faster deliveries and fewer errors. Well-built observability is like having an X-ray vision for your system. So you really see what's happening as you migrate and modernize. So don't just cross your fingers as you are moving to the cloud. Implement observability from day one. Use tools like Amazon CloudWatch, AWS X-ray, and Amazon OpenSearch Service to spot what's fast, what's slow, and what's need fixing. Don't just guess, and definitely don't look for a crystal ball. And your cloud landing zone should be secure, flexible, and easy to grow. Focus on the basics, strong security, and reliable networking. Just don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple and scalable. Finally, don't wait around or dig for that perfect documentation. Chances are it doesn't exist. So simply sketch a high-level architecture during a meeting or workshop, then set up a shared wiki or whatever tool works for your team so everyone can update and contribute. Step 3, design for operational resilience. So what's operational resilience? It's about making sure your cloud systems keep running smoothly even when things go wrong. This section deserves this step deserves a whole session, but today I will focus on the critical components that are often missed or half done. Be ready for system failures, because trust me, they will happen. So don't just hope for the best. Have backups and failover plans, and build systems that can bounce back automatically. For example, Amazon Elastic Kubernetes Service can automatically restart failed containers, and multi-availability deployment zones can keep workloads running even if one availability zone goes down. And don't forget your disaster recovery. Make it automated and part of your infrastructure, not an afterthought. Insight-driven operations. This means knowing what's happening in your cloud systems in real time and using those insights to guide how you respond, operate, and improve. Kuehne+Nagel put this in action by implementing smart logging, alerts, and dashboards using Amazon CloudWatch, Amazon OpenSearch Service, and Grafana. When a traffic spike overloaded one of their service, they identified immediately and responded quickly by automatically scaling, and thus avoided a major impact. Technical debt is like that pile of laundry no one wants to touch. Ignore it, it just grows. So keep your systems healthy by modernizing outdated applications, retiring unused resources, and addressing pending bugs and workarounds. Have a simple process to track and address the technical debt before it becomes a mess. Finally, reusable artifacts. These are like your Lego blocks, templates, configurations, and scripts ready to use anytime to save time and efforts. This component is super important but often overlooked. So focus on reusable patterns like infrastructure templates, deployment pipeline blueprints, and standardized monitoring setups to make your cloud environments more reliable, effective, and easy to scale. Step 4, select the right partner. I have intentionally put this step last, but honestly, it should be the first part that you take action on. Because once you understand what goes into a successful cloud transformation, it's much easier to see why having the right partner from the start is so important. A good partner is like the person in this picture, one who is pulling the other up the mountain and not just cheering from bottom. They understand your business, they work closely with your teams and help you build the confidence to innovate on your own. They bring real-world experience and best practices like automation, reusable artifacts, and smart observability we covered earlier, helping you avoid reinventing the wheel. They also ask the right questions and help you avoid painful mistakes. So bring them early, definitely before you realize you packed the wrong gear and you are already halfway up the mountain. So take your time picking the right. It makes your cloud journey way smoother. Think of it as having a guide who's already climbed the mountain and knows all the tricky spots. All right, let's wrap it up. Here are the 4 key steps of the success framework that we discussed in this session. Step 1, select the right partner, not just someone to migrate your systems, but a true guide who enables you to innovate on your own. Step 2, remember the success formula. Engage, educate, and execute. Don't just migrate, but modernize where it makes sense, automate what matters, and embed observability. Step 4, things will fail. So build reliability, recovery, and insight-driven operations from the start. Implement these 4 steps well, and your cloud journey might just be the smoothest hike you have ever taken. Please scan these codes or visit the AWS partner booths to learn more. Similarly, please visit the Hall A1 to learn more about the AWS European Sovereign Cloud. And finally, please take a moment to fill in the survey in the mobile app. And if anyone has any questions, please contact us. And thank you, everyone. So.